a little pause in the participant climb. So thank you all for joining us here today. My name is Sarah Dexter. I use she, her pronouns. I am a senior admissions and recruitment specialist in the Office of Admissions at the Brown School at Washington University in St. Louis. That is something you'll get used to when you join here, that really long name that you will call home. So like I said, we're so happy that you decided to join us here today. As you can see, I have a number of my really fantastic colleagues here who have joined us for our Ask Us Anything. Y'all submitted some really great questions ahead of time. So we're going to go through those questions today. But if you have questions, now as we're talking through things, please submit them in the little Q&A area in our Zoom webinar. We would love to get those live questions answered as well. I am going to start off with a really brief PowerPoint just to go over some enrollment, like next steps, some reminders to folks, because we do have some upcoming deadlines that we need y'all to take care of. So I'm going to share my screen here. All right, so this is our beautiful Hillman Hall, which you'll get to see hopefully very, very soon. So as you can see, you've maybe seen their names already a little bit, but this is our fabulous panel. I'm going to have them introduce themselves in just a moment, but these are some of the wonderful folks that you'll get to meet when you join us this fall. So a couple of important steps, just as a quick reminder, you have hopefully received your Fall 21 enrollment packet. This is also available on our Brown Admitted Students Resources page on our website. So you can access it there as well in case it's gotten lost in your email somewhere. The next thing is you will need to activate your Washi Wustel key and email. This is super important. If you haven't done it yet, please do so. You'll need this in order to access all of our university systems, register for courses, that sort of thing. There's a couple other steps in the enrollment packet that you'll need to take care of if you haven't already, steps 3 through 5. This includes installing the 2FA, which allows you to access the CGI VPN. You'll need to sign the student handbook and then update your contact information in WebStack. If you run into any issues, let us know. We're happy to help. You will then begin searching, if you haven't already, searching for courses and building your registration worksheet. You might have some questions for your academic advisor. That's okay. You should have gotten an email from them introducing themselves. And if you haven't, let us know and we can make sure y'all get connected. And then you will work with your advisor to make sure that gets approved. Please give them a little bit of time. They're swamped right now. There's lots of folks coming in with questions and having conversations. So please give them 2 full days for your advisor to review and respond. So, go through steps 1 through 8, then you'll be approved to register. When do we register? That was a couple questions that came through. So June 15th and 16th, if you're an advanced standing student, advanced MSW, advanced MPH, you will register Tuesday. If you are non-advanced standing, then you will register on Wednesday. Oh, and then lastly, you should have also received a June checklist. Each month throughout the summer, you will get just a little recap of the things you need to do during that month. It's really helpful just to stay on task and to know what needs to be taken care of. Those will be also available on our student resources page. And then please just keep that page open, bookmark it if you haven't already. There's always a ton of information and resources that become available on that page, from part-time jobs to orientation information, immunization, just lots and lots of good information to reference on that page as well. So, like I said, it's going to be pretty quick PowerPoint. Now we get to the good stuff. You get to talk to the folks I have here on the screen. So first, I would just love to have my colleagues go around and introduce themselves. I will mirror that introduction. So my name is Sarah Dexter. I use she, her pronouns. I work in the Office of Admissions and Recruitment of the Brown School. And then if we could, a little fun thing, what's something you're looking forward to this summer? So myself, I am going to go on a float trip which is like a thing in the Midwest, like in Missouri. We have lots of like rivers and creeks and like bodies of water. And so essentially you just get on a big inner tube and float wherever the current takes you, I guess. There's like a beginning point and end point. But I'm looking forward to that this summer. So if you participants would like to also introduce yourselves in the chat, we would love to know your name, pronouns, where you're calling in from, and then maybe something else you're looking forward to this summer. You can also share like your program information, but I'm also here for the fun stuff. So I'll stop talking. But Deshawn, you're the first person in my screen. Could you please introduce yourself, your role at the Brown School, and something you're looking forward to this summer?
Hello, everyone. Welcome. My name is Deshawn Scott. I am the Assistant Director for Student Engagement. I use he, him, his pronouns. And something I'm looking forward to is seeing my sister come back from the military. So she's in the Air Force and she's in Guatemala. So she's going to be home for 2 weeks in August. So I'm excited to see her and spend some time with her because it's been about a good 3 years since I've seen her.
Oh, that sounds so good. Lin, you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. Hello, everyone. My name is Lin Fu. I use she, her, hers pronouns. So my current role at Brown School is a manager of global programs. So I work closely with international students in terms of student advising, student support, and also student recruitment. This thing I really look forward in the summer is like finally I will be able to see my family after 2 years. So I'm very excited about the family reunion.
Dominique?
Good afternoon. My name is Dominique Sandheinrich. You will see Dominique Brown often on a lot of the materials, but it is Dominique Sandheinrich. I am the Assistant Director of Financial Services, and I am excited this summer. My husband and I just bought a house, so just decorating and getting it kind of equipped and ready to have family over. And so we're excited for, we're already halfway through 2021, so we're excited to see what this other half has to bring myself and my family.
Ragini?
Hi, everyone. My name is Ragini Madhipati. I use she, her pronouns. I'm an assistant teaching professor here at the Brown School, primarily teach within the public health program. I also work in the Office of Field Education, so I oversee the practicum opportunities for our MPH students and our dual degree MSW MPH students. So welcome to everyone. I'm excited to meet everybody this fall. In terms of fun stuff, most of our students do practicum in the summer in the MPH program, so I don't really necessarily get a summer in the traditional sense, but in August, I'm gonna actually get to see my brothers, their wives, and my nieces and my nephew for about 2 weeks, so I'm really excited about that.
Oh, so much good family time, it seems, this summer for lots of folks. Allie, would you like to share a bit about yourself?
Hi, everyone. My name is Allie. My pronouns are she, her, and they, them. I am a rising third year MSW MPH dual degree student. And my fun thing this summer is that my best friend from undergrad, who I haven't seen since 2017, is coming to visit. So I'm really excited to show her around St. Louis. And we're also going to take a trip an hour away to Herman, Missouri, which is this really cool little town that has like a lot of wineries and distilleries. It's really such a gem. So really excited about that.
Oh, this just like hearing these plans is such a lovely place to be. Like that's something I think we've all been waiting for. So thank you all for sharing that and for introducing yourselves. So we're just going to hop right into the pre-submitted questions. Just a quick reminder, if you have questions that you would like our panel or someone from our panel to address, please let us know. But I think we have a great one to kick us off with. So this is just a general question to the entire panel. Someone asked, what can we be doing this summer to get ready to dive back into school? Does anyone have an advice or words of wisdom they'd like to share with the group?
I can go first. When it comes to just your financial aid specifically, getting prepared and working a budget and really thinking about what funds you have and even getting connected with my department, the financial aid department, just understanding what loans are, prepping for living expenses, because I know with the pandemic, certain things have changed. And so just making sure that you understand what funds you have coming into this fall. And if you need any assistance with that, being able to just, again, connect with us and being able to just to see what you have to work with, because I know some students forget that sometimes, and living expenses, again, can catch up to us quickly. And so we are here to definitely help you with that and make you feel a little bit better and to breathe when it comes to money, because I know that can be a tough conversation.
From the student advising perspective, I don't think you will need to be much academic prepared. You don't have to start your reading that early. So if you have time, probably you can briefly review the course syllabus, which you will be able to see after you get registered. Probably some professor will only send out their syllabi a few weeks before the class. So if you will have to take the online class in the fall, make sure you are familiar with the Zoom meeting. So you can also use your WUSO email address to register for the university premium access room account. So make sure you set up that before course starts. Otherwise, I will say enjoy the summer before class starts.
Yeah, I was just going to echo that, and something I always tend to say in my intro and I forgot is I'm actually a Brown School alum. So I have both my social work and my public health degree from the Brown School. I did them at separate times. So my first one was straight out of undergrad, and my second one was after I'd been working here in St. Louis for a few years. So two little different perspectives, but just to echo what Linwin said, please enjoy your summer. There's plenty of time to read and study. And once you get here, it'll be just kind of this really fast start. So please take some time for yourself, enjoy your time with your loved ones. From a field education standpoint, I would just say, you really don't need to worry too much as of right now. If you're an advanced standing student, especially in social work, you'll take a bridge course that will tell you everything you need to know about prepping for practicum. But, please don't worry too much about field ed until you are physically here at the Brown School in the fall.
I have one thing to add. I connected with another incoming student before I came using the Facebook page. And that was so helpful to have met someone in person before the start of school. So you have someone to eat lunch with on the first day and kind of meet other people from there. So socially, if you're in St. Louis before school starts, it really does help to connect with people.
One component is trying to figure out what does engagement, extracurricular activities look like for you all. Same thing that Ragini said, is just finding things that brings you joy. So I kind of help students realize we understand academics first, but it's always important to get involved. So what type of things do you want to be involved with? So think ahead of time. Do you want to be involved in affinity groups, or do you want to be involved with our veteran students or our students that's coming back from the workforce and trying to get transitioned back to school? So what does that look like? Because myself, as well as the student coordinator counselors, always trying to figure out different ways to let students get away from the classroom and focus more on engaging with their peers. Because I know COVID has definitely changed what does relationship building has been. So we're ready and excited to get back to that point, hopefully next school year.
Sean, I think that segues really nicely into another question someone had. So a person asked, what are some ways to engage with other students during the fall semester while we experience the impact of COVID on campus? So I know some of this might be a bit nebulous and still be, you're still figuring that out, but I'm wondering if you could share a bit, and then maybe Allie, you could kind of share a bit about your experience, how you've continued relationships during this time.
Oh, one of the things that I've been working on, so we have Student Coordinating Council, also known as SCC. So it's representatives of all the degree programs that we have within the Brown School. So they're the voice of the Brown School. Something we've been working on this summer is trying to figure out how can we get our affinity groups, our extracurricular activity, student organizations to get the word out saying, hey, this is our mission, this is our values, and how you can get involved. So I think one of the greatest ways is during the fall, I send out an email newsletter every Wednesday called Student Happenings, and have a list of everything that's going on within the month or 2 months within the Brown School or even outside of the community. So that's some way that you get involved as well. And then we also have a food pantry called Bear Bites. So if you have to, if you need food, you can always feel free to go on certain days that we have 2 or 3 times throughout the week to pick up food. So that's just a way that's right now, it's very basic right now, and we're still trying to figure out based off along CDC guidelines. Hopefully we can have some in-person outside reception area so you all can meet current students and new students of the Brown School.
Yeah, so in the like COVID world, what I found interesting is that some of my best friends I've made at the Brown School, I've made since COVID started, just from meeting in virtual classes and, taking the initiative to like message privately and be like, hey, do you want to like hang out on Zoom after a little bit, after a group project or something, get to know each other a little bit better. Just a few weeks ago, a group from my social work practice, LGBTQIA+ class, we all had like a little bonfire in my backyard. So that was really fun. I definitely would recommend taking advantage of like distance hangouts if that's what's comfortable for you, or going out. There's a lot of different like patio restaurants in St. Louis, which are really great. And just like, reaching out via Zoom if you're in Zoom class, doing that private message and just taking that initiative, because everyone's going to be looking for friends or people to meet. So I just say go for it.
Thank you both for sharing that. I think those are both really, really important, like some very structured ways to connect. And then also, Ali, like you said, some like individual outreach or some connections that you've made just because that's something you want to do. Another thing that I know the Brown School has is a peer-to-peer mentoring program. And so I'm a little less familiar with the specifics, but my understanding is if that's something you're interested in as an incoming student, if you haven't received an email, you will be receiving one to potentially connect with either a second or third year Brown School student to, just get a lay of the land and to know someone when you get here, because as Ali said, I think it's really helpful just to know a person to kind of get involved. Along those same lines, I think, Deshaun, I got another question for you. You're in the hot seat right now, I guess. Do we have any idea of what orientation will look like? Will it be virtually, in person? Just really any details you can share?
Yes, so I know I've been receiving a lot of emails about orientation. Orientation will be online. Right now, I'm creating a Canvas module so I can send out to students, as well as different Zoom links. So you'll be receiving an email within July about more details about orientation. So orientation is from August 23rd to August 27th. So all of it be online. The only component that you're trying to figure out is international student orientation, which is normally a Thursday, Wednesday or Thursday, trying to figure out, since the group is smaller, would they have in-person orientations. So that's something that's not 100% guaranteed right now. We're still trying to figure out the logistics of those things as well. So just be on the lookout. I'm trying to have small receptions outside, just waiting to get the green light for me to have those events.
Great, thank you, Deshaun. I can only imagine the like mental gymnastics you're doing right now to plan far out, even though it doesn't feel that far, but so much can change. So, so it sounds like mostly virtual, but maybe some smaller groupings for in-person groupings for folks to connect. Well. Let's see, I'm trying to group these somewhat together. Another kind of preparation question, what sort of school supplies do you recommend having around for classes or practicum? Ali, could I ask you this?
Yeah, I would say, a notebook or a few that you like to write in. That can be, like a big spiral notebook or just like a smaller one. I have like a binder that has like a loose leaf paper that's been helpful in classes. But I mean, for online classes, you could always like take notes on your laptop, but really just like a notebook and pens, maybe some sticky notes if you like that. I really don't think there's like a lot of school supplies needed. I would definitely recommend having a good backpack. When I came into the program, I was using like a really, really old backpack, and it just got really ratty really quickly. You really, like being in class on campus, I would bring my laptop every day because sometimes there's opportunities to do like group work on campus and, go study in the library or something. So I would make sure you have a functional backpack. I ended up having to get one after my first semester. But other than that, I mean, I think, there is a laptop requirement. So that's like a major thing, and I can post a link to like the laptop requirement page on our website. But yeah, just like notebooks and pens, I think. If you want to get fancy and have like dividers for each of your classes, that's cool too. But really just the basics are what you need.
Great, thank you so much, Allie. And yeah, I just reiterate, I think the laptop is the big thing, but you know, folks have their own systems and supplies that they need, so do what feels right to you. Another good question came in. So I'll take this first, and then I would love to have panelists add in if they have additional knowledge. So someone asked, how have you brought queer studies into your curriculum? So I know that there are a number of, we have a curriculum committee, like review committee, and they're very intentional with how faculty and instructors design curriculum. So there is that component. There are a number of courses that do incorporate queer perspectives and theories into their syllabus and content. We have faculty members in particular who really focus on LGBTQ research in a variety of areas. We have a specific course that Allie, I think you mentioned, if I heard that correctly, but the social work practice with LGBTQ IA plus populations. And so I know that touches on like policies and service delivery and issues that affect queer people. I believe Elizabeth Fruchs is teaching that. I know she taught last year, I believe this coming spring typically, but I'm wondering if anyone else on the panel would like to speak to how queer studies is incorporated in the curriculum, or maybe curriculum more broadly. So I'll just open that up.
I can speak on it a little bit. I will say that I did like sexuality and gender studies in undergrad, and I found that at the Brown School, there's not a lot of like theory. So if you're interested in theory, I would recommend like kind of doing some of that work on your own. But like once in the Brown School, it's much more focused on like policy and practice from my experience. But also I would really encourage you to join SAGA, the Sexuality and Gender Alliance, which is a student group at the Brown School that we in the past has been like really a social group. We're hoping to really like bulk it up this year and do a little bit more like policy work at the Brown School and kind of like bolstering the curricula, not just in queer classes, but like in all classes, to have like a sharper focus on how gender and sexuality impact people's lived experiences and experiences like with social services, et cetera. So yeah, please join us. And yeah, if you're looking for like more theory, then I would recommend like digging into that, or like taking an elective through Washi that's focused around that.
Sarah, I was just going to add, from a field ed standpoint, we're continuously working every year to build out our sites that work with queer populations, LGBTQIA populations. Elizabeth Fuchs, who Sarah pointed to, also works in the Office of Field Ed and is a great resource, as well as she's been doing this work for a very long time in the St. Louis area, if that's an interest area for you. I also highly just recommend reaching out to any of our field faculty within the Office of Field Education, because they can kind of talk through what's here in St. Louis, but also what they may know in terms of practicum and sites nationally as well.
Great. Oh, sorry, go ahead, Sean.
I would say I think another great thing is that we have, if you're a part of SEC, Student Coordinating Council, you get to be a part of the curriculum reform meetings that we have with Dean McKay. So you can always bring up your concerns that you have about curriculum, regardless of, it could be anything, all the way from diversity or social justice, or you want to see different components of curriculum, different components of people within the curriculum. You can always bring that up, and we have those conversations with Dean McKay.
Thank you. I think that's a good point, that there's, I think, a number of like formal and informal avenues to provide your input on curriculum. If you're seeing if you're not seeing something you want to see, or if there's something that you're really enjoying and you want more of, I think, as Deshawn and Allie and Ragini mentioned, there's a number of ways to voice that if it's if you're not seeing it in the way that you're hoping for. So Ragini, if I could ask you a question. So someone asked, do you have to change field education practicum sites every year. So I'm assuming this is either an MSW or dual degree student asking this question.
Yeah, that's a great question. So, so for all of our MSW students and our dual degree students, you complete, well, I'll start with MSW, only MSW students. So you complete your foundation and concentration practicums. And yes, so those are typically completed at 2 different sites. And the reason is because we do want you to have a unique learning experience that differs from one location to another. Now, if you feel that there's a completely different opportunity you could pursue at your foundation site for your concentration practicum, we're happy to talk that through and kind of think through what that might look like. For our dual degree students, you can end up doing up to about 3 practicums, your foundation, your concentration, and then your dual degree. Again, the same rules apply for your foundation to concentration and dual, but your dual degree practicum and your concentration practicum can all be completed at one site. So that's what's a little bit different for our dual degree students. And by dual degree, I just want to verify that that's gonna, or clarify that that's our MSW MPH students. MPH MSP or MSW MSP have something that's just a little bit different. So all to say, yes, we do prefer that you switch sites, but we're happy to negotiate if that's something that is important to you to stay at one place.
Thanks, Ragini. Lin Win, I have a question for you. This is about housing. So that someone asked, are there housing requirements for international students? And so maybe even a bit broadly though, how do you go about finding housing, or any suggestions you have? I think specifically for international students or folks moving from out of the region.
Sure. So we don't have particular housing requirement for international student. You can decide where to live based on your own preference. Our graduate students live off campus. Our on-campus housing options are only available for undergraduate students. If you are asking tips about the housing search, I could offer a few. If you have no idea where to get started, you can start with searching at quadrangle and parallel property. I just put their website in the chat box. So they are both university-owned housing company. Actually, their office are located in the same building at our North Campus. So most housing they offer are close to campus, either within walking distance or close to the metro bus. So in terms of a very specific requirement, if you are considering having roommates, I checked with quadrangle housing. 3 unrelated person is a maximum to live in one household. So that's I think that's only a requirement they have. You may have noticed if you will get the U pass to take the metro bus and the metro link for free in St. Louis. But so if you don't plan to get a car in St. Louis, so probably you can consider to living in an area like our campus to home shuttle cover. So the campus to home shuttle is available 7 days a week to provide a safe ride home from Washi campus to off campus residents within the specific boundary. So let me put this link. So I just put a link. You can find the map there. They put a specific a boundary, the campus to home shuttle covers. So actually the campus to home, I found it kind of very helpful. Students really love this service. So it runs, so in the semester it runs from 7 p.m. to 4 a.m. It runs every 15 minutes. So I think this is a really great service our university offers to guarantee your safety, particularly in the late nighttime. So you can see more details on the website. So many of our quadrangle and parallel property, their housing offered are within the boundary that our campus to home shuttle can reach. So that's another reason why I suggest you to start the searching at these 2 websites. Yeah, that's my advice for housing searching. Yeah.
And then Allie, if you don't mind, just as someone who's had to go through this process and moved from a significant distance, do you have any tips or advice to share?
I just use websites like Zillow or Trulia because you can really adjust your price range and your neighborhoods and what you're looking for, and then just met with different landlords on there to try and find housing. It was really important for me to be within a 15-minute drive of campus after living in a city where I had a really long commute that I didn't want anymore. So yeah, I live in University City, and it's about a 25-minute walk to campus, like a 15-minute bike ride, or a 5-minute drive. So it's really close and much more affordable than I was expecting. So yeah, I would just utilize those websites, and of course the like roommate spreadsheet if you're still looking for someone to live with. And yeah, best of luck, and reach out if you have any issues with that.
Thank you, Lin, for sharing all of those really awesome resources in the chat. I knew about the parking or the shuttle, but I didn't know the radius was that large. So that's really cool to have, and it's free. So all of y'all watching, free is great. And Allie, thank you for sharing those tips as well. I love your city, so it's fantastic. All right, let's see. Next question. I know there's quite a few that came in for admission, so I'll try to tackle a couple of these. Someone asked about the health insurance plan. When does that take effect? So August 1 is when your student insurance takes effect. If you do have any questions regarding student insurance, there's an email address you can connect with. So I'm going to drop that in the chat because we all know how important health insurance is. So I'll drop that here. If you do need to submit a waiver, so you already have insurance from something else, Washi will need that before September 15th. So those are just two important dates to keep in mind. Let's see. Someone asked about proficiency exams. Those are currently live. So hopefully you have received an email about that to sign up for proficiency exams. If you missed that, you can still access that on our website, the Brown School Student Admit Student Resources page. You'll sign up for those. Those are open through August 2nd, completely online. So if you're interested in placing out of a class or two, then please check out those proficiency exams and see if you have, expertise in that area. Another one real quickly, someone asked if they could change their specialization or concentration before registering. Yes, you can. It's pretty simple. If you could go ahead and just email us at Brown Admissions, we'll take care of that in our system and then make sure everyone on the registration side knows that's going on. But then I would also talk to your advisor about it too, just to give them a heads up. Communication is really important. And so first let admissions know, and then be sure to chat about that with your advisor as well. All right, I think that's enough for me for now. Let's hop back to y'all. Speaking of courses and preparing for registration, what is the registration process like for a student? Do you typically get your first choice classes? Does availability change once the semester begins? I'm wondering if our advisors here could chat a little bit about the registration process. And then Allie, of course, I'll kick it over to you to share your experience. So could I start with Deshaun and then Lin, I'll have you pop in.
But this year, next semester, will be my first year academic advising students. So I'm going to be right along the process with you all as well, just learning how I can best assist you all. But typically, a lot of students get their first choices. If not, you go on with the second choice. And one thing that students been asking about is, saying, what happened to my practicum hours conflict with the class? What am I supposed to do? And I tell people, remember, you're a student first, so make sure you choose your classes first and then work your practicum hours around your class schedule. Everyone's pretty much here is flexible. Communication is the key. So that's what I tell people. Remember that as well.
I will say make sure to mark the registration time on your calendar is 9 a.m. on that day. As long as you can get into the registration exactly at that time, I think you will be able to enroll in your first choice. Otherwise, you will still have class to choose. No worries at all. And also, if you found there's still time you can change class within, I think, the first 2 weeks of class. If you find some class you feel is not your right fit for you, you can still change section, working with your advisor and also working with the registrar.
Yeah, I would say I think I've been put on a wait list like 1 or 2 times. Usually I get my first choice options if you like register at the time that you're given. And when I've been on the wait list, I've gotten off the wait list, usually like right around the start of the semester when people are changing around courses. I think on one of those, I was like wait list number 7 or 8, and I still got in. So definitely like stay on the wait list if it's a course you're interested in. But there definitely is that like shifting at the beginning of the semester as everything falls into place. So just know that it'll all work out. And I know for this registration, it's like 9 a.m., but for other registrations, it's like 7 a.m. So for those, I'm not an early riser. I would just have my like laptop next to my bed and like wake up, register, and like go back to sleep. Just to do it right at the time so that I would have the best chance of getting into classes. But as I said, if you're on the wait list, it is likely that you will get moved off. So just hang in there.
I just wanted to echo as an alum, Allie, I did the same thing. I just would like roll over and like hit my registration key and then go back to sleep. So
I think those are all such good tips. And there's one thing that I think you all have said is like, it'll get worked out. Like try not to worry too much about it. You'll get into classes and maybe have a little bit of patience if at all possible. So thanks for sharing that. Someone else asked about federal work study. So Dom, could you share a little bit about how the work study program works at the Brown School?
Absolutely. So federal work study is optional to the students who are FAFSA eligible. You are granted up to $2,000 per academic year, and that's going to be paid through the department that you work for and partly through the federal aid fund that you're awarded. That is not a stipend. You will get paid bi-weekly, so it's a check in hand, and so you can kind of do with it what you want, whether it's living expenses or putting it right back into your tuition, maybe balance or balance due. But it is optional for those students. So when I do package students, you will see that line for federal work study divided in half over each fall and spring. So for instance, if a student does not find a position in fall, but maybe got some references, made some connections in the fall and found a position in the spring, they can still utilize that 2,000 in the spring. And so a lot of those jobs will be posted on Simplicity, which is kind of through our career services. There are tons of jobs that are federal work study and just normal jobs as well. But again, if a student does not want to take on federal work study, you can eliminate that on your award and net partner. And that's a whole nother new program we'll get into in the summer, but you can eliminate that. And then your loans or your aid will increase by 1,000 each semester in specifically federal aid. So we're taking that federal aid off and then increasing your loan by that if you'd like. And so students will have the ability to go into their account and delete it themselves. But that is basically how federal work study is. Students, again, you seek out those positions and you will have to ask that department and or employer if they are taking on federal work study students, because not all positions are federal work study eligible. So that's kind of how that works. If you have specific questions about yourself, just send me an email.
Thanks, Dom. And I think that segues perfectly into another question asking about part-time jobs. So I'm going to share just a little bit and then I'll pass it along. So as Dom mentioned, later this summer, you will gain access to Simplicity, which is essentially like a virtual job board that our Office of Career Services operates. So some of those have federal work study jobs, some are non-federal work study positions. Our student ambassadors position was posted through Simplicity. In addition to that, the Office of Admissions is posting part-time jobs, assistantships, fellowships that we're made aware of on our admitted students resource page. How many times can I plug it? Check out that page because there are quite a few positions available right now, not only Brown School positions, but also positions across campus. I believe there's some with either Campus Life or Res Life right now, but there's quite a few positions available right there. So I think those are the big two things right now that are campus-based. Panelists, any other suggestions or tips on finding a part-time job?
So I do encourage students, and I think this is kind of across the board at the university, is really focusing on your academics. And so not really exceeding 20 hours or more in work a week, just because we know that it's exhausting depending on what your job is, and then having to take care of academics. So we encourage students to work about 20 hours or less. But that is just like my little pro tip, just to not get overwhelmed, especially in your first semester, kind of feeling out and really trying to get your schedule together, and what you can take on and what you can't. So.
Also, reminder to our international students, so you are only allowed to work like no more than like 20 hours a week. So you cannot work more than 20 hours a week. So another, I think for part-time job searching, so not only within Brown School, we have many opportunity like in the library, also IT office, they could have like opportunity there, and also like on within Washi system. I know like the calling center they have, like I think they have many part-time job students. They recruit many part-time job student. I think per semester. Probably you can browse their website to see whether they offer this kind of opportunity. And also library, university-wide library and other library like Asian study library, law school library, they all offer like part-time jobs. Yeah.
Yeah, I was also going to say that the medical school, we have a really great partnership with Washi Med. And so they sometimes have part-time jobs that our students are eligible for as well. And then I just wanted to reiterate what Dom said about 20 hours per week for your work, especially because you're in classes, like 3-hour classes, the majority of the week. So just remembering to kind of plan some of that out. And then a lot of our part-time jobs that are at the med school are either sent to us and posted on Simplicity, or sometimes are even just through the regular WashU HR website. So you can always check that out as well.
I would also add that if you're interested in research and there's like a professor whose work is really cool, to just like reach out to them directly and see if they have any opportunities. That's how I got my research assistantship. And then also just to note that working off campus is also great. If you're interested, I worked as a server at a local restaurant my first 2 semesters and I loved it. It was a really great way to like learn the local community and like feel like I had friends outside of the Brown School and just kind of get to know what St. Louis was like. So don't discount off-campus opportunities too.
Yeah, sorry, I have to send another reminder, like international students are not allowed to work off campus besides your practicum. Yeah, just to remind.
Oh, thank you all, and thank you, Lin-Wen. This is why it's so helpful to have you here to remind folks, because that's a very important distinction to make. We don't want anyone to get in trouble. So thanks for sharing all those great tips. And another thing that I just want to plug is our Office of Career Services. As I said, they run our Simplicity, that virtual job board. That is a lot of other things. It's not just a virtual job board. But if you're looking for something in particular or need coaching or resume review, they have a ton of services. They're not on the call right now, but I would highly recommend connecting with the Office of Career Services. Josh, Amber, Elizabeth, other folks there are really great people, and they want to help you get a job, not only part-time, but a full-time job when you graduate. So please connect with Career Services. They're just like phenomenal people who really want to see you do well as a student and beyond.
Hey, Sarah, quick question. Is Career Services, are they going to have their part-time job fair this fall? Do you know of any?
That's a great question. I actually don't know. Do you know?
Well, no, I don't know, but what I can say is I know last year during the pandemic, it was all virtual. So students still had the opportunity, and Allie probably can attest to it, still had the opportunity to plug in their resume and cover letters. And so hopefully a communication will come out with some of those details of how that will look this fall. But historically, there's been a part-time job fair in the fall for students to be able to come in and like walk around campus and go to booths and talk to different supervisors or representatives of the department. And kind of tell you what they have, openings they have and what they're looking for, and being able to drop your resume off for review, and then they reach out to students. So I'm sure that'll be an opportunity in some sort, in some fashion, but more details to come.
Thank you so much for pointing that out, Dom. I think it's one of those things where, like, as you alluded to, like, maybe it'll be in person, TBD. In 2 months we'll know. But as you said, yeah, there'll definitely be something. And as we get closer, for folks looking for jobs, as we do get closer to fall, a lot more of those postings become available once folks know, exactly what their needs are. So thanks for sharing that. I think I might have gotten through all of the pre-submitted questions, just doing a quick scan. We had a couple questions about applications for fall 21. So just a quick note to that, if you are looking to apply for this fall, it's coming real quick. Our applications are still open actually until July 1. So if you are in the process of completing an application, I would actually suggest being in contact and communication with our office just to make sure that everything is going along smoothly there, that you're getting all your materials set in. If you're on this call, as you can see, registration's next week. So we want to make sure that you are set up for success. So if you are applying for this fall, I highly recommend to do that soon, but then also be in contact with us if you have any questions or wanting any tips for a strong application, because we certainly have those tips, but we'll probably want to connect offline to have that conversation. I saw a couple of questions come through here. So someone asked, and this is not a silly question, but someone asked, will a Mac work as a laptop requirement? I believe it's not technically within the laptop requirement, but I do know several students do have Macs. I'm wondering if anyone has any more information they'd want to share on that.
I was just going to say I did my entire MPH program with my MacBook. So, it's possible. I think there are some classes that, and I think my social work degree too, there are some classes that may make it a little bit difficult to use certain software and stuff like that on the Mac. But, your instructor will be in touch with you about that. And you can always work with IT to figure out if there's like a workaround as well.
Thanks, Ragini, and I apologize if you said this, but there are computer labs in the Brown School as well. So I know folks in the past have used those with the software that's needed. Someone else asked, could we speak a little bit about TA or GA positions at WashU? So I can answer that. WashU does offer positions, but it's more so in a part-time capacity. These aren't typically like tuition remission positions. So there may be like a fellowship or an assistantship position, and it may have additional perks, like it may cover like a student health and wellness fee or some of those things. But they're more so, I would think of it more so as like a part-time paid position. Each assistantship or fellowship looks different. So it'd be really important to look at that individual listing to see what it is they're offering, if it's a certain hour requirement or what specifics are around that posting. I'm wondering, Dom, do you have anything to add to that? Okay, cool.
I think you covered it. You did really well.
We get these questions a lot, so it's unfortunately the title might be a little murky, but just be sure to really look at the specific description when you're applying for those things. And then Sarah Birch actually just linked those current campus-based fellowships and assistantships. So please be sure to check out that link. As she noted, it is not exhaustive. So these are some, but not all. So please do your due diligence as well. Ooh, so many questions coming in. When do applications start for 2022? We will open those, I believe, the end of September, early October. We'll be sure to communicate that out to folks who have generated interest. We will let you know once those open up. If you're unsure, shoot us a message, an email, and we'll be happy to give you that exact date once we get a little bit closer. Let's see. So Abby asked, when does Saga plan to meet this fall? They're interested in joining. Allie, could you take that?
Yeah, so we are hoping to do like a welcome picnic kind of in the first few weeks of school, if we're able to meet in person. If not, we'll do a Zoom picnic. So TBD on that, but we will definitely be posting on, I guess, the Brown School Students page once you all are able to be part of that Facebook page. And I'm sure Deshaun will include it in the like student happenings once we send that information to him as well. Yeah, we've kind of, so Saga, and I'm sure a lot of other student groups were meeting regularly back when we were on campus, and then kind of was hard to meet in the Zoom world because everyone was just very fatigued being on screens all the time. But we have been thinking about how we want to revamp it when we're back in person, hopefully do like bi-weekly dinners on campus. But yeah, just stay tuned. But hopefully we'll have that welcome back picnic during the first few weeks.
Oh, that sounds so lovely and exciting to have this sort of gatherings again. Someone else asked about need-based applications. Again, so this would be for fall 22, I'm assuming. If you're interested in funding, then you would be eligible to apply for both merit and need-based awards. Since this conversation is a little bit more for incoming students, if you have questions about funding or application or any of those things for fall 22, please reach out to our office individually. We can always connect you to Dom if it's appropriate as well, but happy to chat more about that on an individual basis. So another person just asked, do you have any specific laptop recommendations if they're thinking about getting a PC? Anyone here have any laptop recommendations?
I could recommend mine. When I was leaving my job to come to the Brown School, I literally like printed out the requirements and asked an IT person at my job, and they helped me. So I don't know how to pronounce it, but it's Asus. And it was, I think, like $700 or $800. One huge piece of advice I got was to buy your laptop on tax-free weekend if you can, because that counts for laptops. I think I saved like $100 or $200 just on taxes. And this one specifically, I guess if you go to their website, it has like a touch screen so you can fold it and make it like a tablet if you want to, which I use for a lot of my readings. And it's been really, really great. I can try to find the actual link and send that, and also see when tax-free weekend was. I think for me, it was like early to mid-August. So I'll try and post that info momentarily.
Thank you, Allie. That was something I wasn't aware of when I moved to St. Louis too, that there's like a tax-free weekend. So I'm always like surprised when it pops up, but no, if you have big purchases to make when you're moving here, it's typically towards like the beginning of school year. I think like right before school typically starts for folks. Maybe someone knows more that's like actually from the area, but tax-free weekend is a huge, awesome tip that I was like a little bit surprised. So we don't have any more questions and we have 5 minutes left. I'm just curious if, to kind of close out our session, if folks could give our incoming students like a piece of advice or a tip, or just, you know, like a well-wish, something to leave them with as we prepare for coming to campus this fall, or joining classes, whatever that looks like for you, I should say. So Ragini, can I start with you? Put you on the spot.
Sure. I think I would just say, you know, to say that we've all kind of endured a really rough year to a year and a half, and maybe even 2 years for folks, if not more, is a very large understatement. So, you know, just knowing that we are a big welcoming community here at the Brown School. And so, you know, just leaning in, and don't be afraid to reach out to anybody who's on this call. Any of our faculty or staff are more than happy to answer questions and meet up virtually, or when we can in person. So just, you know, being open to the moment, I guess, of being at the Brown School. And then from an alumni student perspective, I would just say, I think your inclination is always going to be, I need to read every single page that is listed on my syllabus, and to have some grace with yourself. It's a lot of information, a lot of content. So, you know, just give yourself maybe like a week or two leading into class to kind of get a hang of like what is actually required of you, because I think that can be really stressful coming in as well.
That's such great advice. Lin-Wen, can I pass it to you?
Sure. So actually, I also did my MSW at Brown School. I have been associated with Brown School about 8 years. So Brown School is really a very welcoming school and a very inclusive school, as also Ragini just mentioned. Like, don't hesitate to reach out to like either faculty member, staff member, and also make new friends with people from diverse backgrounds. Yeah, also I feel Brown School is really, we have lots of resources. Like 2 or 3 years, probably you could not explore all of those resources. I would highly recommend to like really take advantage of this great free resources, like our career service. Like you can get your resume polished, your cover letter polished, and like our writing center. We have so much resources you can explore. Don't miss those great resources. Yeah.
Sean, what about you? What would you like to share?
I'd like to share, there may be times where you may experience imposter syndrome. And if you do experience imposter syndrome, remember you was selected here to be here for a reason. You belong here and you will succeed. There will also be times where you may just make mistakes. Like we make mistakes all the time. And remember that you are human and learning is an ongoing process and you will succeed. So I look forward to seeing a lot of you virtually or in person this upcoming school year. And we're always here if you need support.
That's so good. That's so true. You belong here. You're supposed to be here. Dominique, anything you'd like to share?
I think one thing to remember for us as a Brown school and then the community, our new incoming students, just remember the patience and understanding and flexibility as we navigate this new environment. Again, we all come in, with high hopes, but we just never know what that looks like. So just being sure that we're following the rules, whether it be CDC or anything that we put out to students. Be patient with us because again, not all faculty are coming back 100%. So you may see us every now and then, but be understanding that we're working with all of you diligently and navigating new systems and just making sure that we're being efficient. And we're just super excited to have all of you coming. I think it's going to be, again, it's going to be new for all of us after a year of being behind screens. But our goal is to get you through the program and to support you as you go throughout, not just this journey, but and beyond. And again, for me, plug in for financial aid, July 1st, make sure your signed federal aid packages are sent to me. But if you ever have any questions specifically about your finances and federal aid or financial aid, nothing but a word, just send me an email and I'll be more than happy to assist you as best that I can.
Thanks, Don. I think that's the key, as best as we can. We're all doing our best here. And that's without a doubt. Allie, would you like to leave us with your parting words, tips, wisdom?
Yeah, I guess I would just say for those who have been out of school for any amount of time, just know that it's going to be really hard to relearn how to be a student. I know I really struggled my first month or month and a half, just relearning how to, get back into the groove. So just know you're not alone and that there are a lot of your peers are going to be going through the same thing. So it's okay to lean on each other and help each other. And you'll get through it. And I promise it gets easier starting the second semester. But yeah, just, excited to meet you all and have you on campus and yeah, welcome. See you soon.
Oh, thank you all so much. I have nothing to add. I think y'all really hit the nail on the head. To the folks who are coming, you deserve to be here and we're really excited that you're here. We're at time, so I'm going to leave it at that. But if you have lingering questions, please reach out to us at brownadmissions@worcester.edu. You probably have that email memorized at this point. Check out our admitted student resources. Refer to your enrollment packet, your summer checklist. There's so many resources out there, not only materials, but also people. These people want you to succeed. And there's so many people who aren't on the screen that want you to succeed. So if you need something, say something, we're here. And we're really excited to meet y'all so soon. So I hope you are taking care and staying safe, and we'll see you in a bit. Right, that's it for now. Bye. Thank you, panelists. So good to see you.
See you all.